Hello, welcome to the Snack Bar where you get your weekly bites of everything movies. I'm Jed, and with me I have.
Gerry?
Usually Jerry takes the lead because this is her show, and I'm a lowly guest. But tonight we're doing an experiment in gender swapping because the movie we're discussing is.
Is this my cue?
Yeah, this is your cue. As you can tell, we haven't practiced this very
Ghostbusters.
much. Sorry, I stepped all over your line.
It's alright.
Yeah, we're doing the.
You're not the only man who has stepped all over the new Ghostbusters.
Ooh, sick burn. Yeah, tonight we're talking about the 2016 reboot of the Ghostbusters franchise, directed by Paul Feig and starring women. Which people.
Oh. Alright.
Before that, what have you watched this week, Jerry?
I've watched nothing. I'm sorry.
That's
Another
alright.
busy week.
And you're settling in at your job and everything, so I hope that's going well.
Yeah,
So
I hope so too.
this week I watched Skiptrace, which is the new Jackie Chan movie, and
I'm sorry.
yeah, I know, I'm sorry too. And Star Trek Beyond, which you worked on.
Sort of, yeah. I highly doubt our names are in the credits, but yeah, I worked on that.
I looked for your name. I don't think it's there though, unfortunately. Like I looked under match moving double negative. Your name wasn't there. I was hoping to find your name there.
It's alright.
Okay, so Skiptrace. Yeah, it's what you'd expect from a Jackie Chan Hollywood thing. It's directed by Rennie Harlin, whom the trailers will happily tell you directed Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger, but what they won't tell you is he directed Cutthroat Island, one of the biggest bombs in cinema history, as well as the recent Legend of Hercules from 2014. So Rennie Harlin's career is completely down the toilet, and interestingly enough, he wasn't the first choice for the director of this movie. Originally, Sam Fell, who's one of the directors of Paranorman, was supposed to make his live-action debut with the Jackie Chan movie, but he dropped out. And this movie's had quite a troubled production history.
Interesting.
Jackie
Yeah,
Chan...
I've just heard of this Cutthroat Island thing. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
And it looks terrible.
he had his wife Gina Davis in it, his wife at the time, I think, and yeah, it like he must have been kicking himself when Pirates of the Caribbean came out. It's like, oh no, why couldn't Cutthroat Island have been that? So anyway, Skiptrace is about a Hong Kong cop, because what other kind of character would Jackie Chan play, who is on the trail of an American gambler, this smooth-talking, roguish character played by Johnny Knoxville of Jackass fame. He also voiced Leonardo in the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot. And they go on a cross-country trip throughout China, and while Jackie Chan is trying to prove that this businessman is actually an evil criminal mastermind known as the Matador, who has killed Jackie Chan's partner on the police force years ago. So it's Rush Hour without being called Rush Hour.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it. It looks horrible. And it's a horribly edited trailer too.
Yeah, it's a horribly edited movie.
Yeah, and you can tell that they're trying so hard to be funny, but it doesn't work at all. And I'm so sorry you had to watch this film.
None of it works. It looks really cheap. There's some laughable green screening. There's one action set piece where they have to jump on a zip line, and it's just the most amateur stuff I've seen in a while. But the thing that's kind of sort of borderline worthwhile about this is the travelogue element. They do go to some pretty beautiful looking places in China, and part of the movie is spent in Inner Mongolia, where they have the requisite, he befriends the local tribe, they get drunk, and they sing songs around the campfire. They do that. They have them climbing mountains. It's silly and it's not very well done, and it feels very, very dated. It feels 80s or 90s, like they're trying for a buddy cop thing when the chemistry clearly isn't there. But at the same time, I guess it's still kind of impressive that Jackie Chan is doing these stunts at 62, and he's still as good at it as he used to be. And they do put in some of those signature prop comedy action scenes where he's fighting people using the stuff around the room. That stuff's always alright. So there's a little tiny bit of that, but it seems like it's slotted in there for the sake of it.
I see. So the action is alright when it comes to Jackie Chan doing his own Jackie Chan thing?
It is, but there's still a bit too much cutting. There's this really good video
Oh.
by Every Frame a Painting, this guy on YouTube, and he analyzed how Hollywood directors shoot Jackie Chan fight scenes versus how Hong Kong directors shoot Jackie Chan fight scenes. And the difference is quite startling, and one would not have noticed it without having it pointed out.
Yeah, I've seen that video. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So obviously you're not gonna recommend this.
Yeah, Skiptrace, which is what every single review will say. So sorry in advance for not being original. It's also sad that someone died for this movie. The cinematographer drowned.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
really
what?
tragic.
Why did he drown?
He drowned.
Like, what were they doing?
He drowned off of Lantau Island. So I'm not very sure what scene it was, but someone died for this movie, and Jackie Chan himself nearly died. He says that he fell off the raft while they were shooting like a river rapid scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why was no one like in charge of the safety hazard or what?
I don't know, but we've been hearing things like that happen with kind of tragic regularity, not only in movies of all kinds where accidentally something that doesn't happen occurs. And I guess the safety standards of the stunt industry have been overhauled after the terrible Twilight Zone thing, but it's upsetting that this stuff still happens. I think nobody can be 100%.
Oh, well, that's really sad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see, well, this is sort of unrelated, but okay, people, this is why being a critic kind of sucks, because you have to watch these type of movies whether you want to or not. And it's a good thing that we have people like Jedd, who you kind of have to take the first step, because it could have been a good movie, right?
Yeah, it could have.
Yeah, and the fact is you had to watch it and you had to sit, 90 minutes or 2 hours?
It was too long. It was 120 minutes and it was definitely too long.
Yeah, and for that, thank you, Jedd.
Thanks, Gerry.
For telling us and confirming that it's a terrible movie.
That's really, really kind of you to say. Yeah, I guess there are movies that I watch and I walk out of and I'm not sure what I'm going to say about it and I have to think for a long time, but movies like this I don't have to. So at the same time, while I would rather not be watching a movie like Skiptrace, it's not that difficult to come up with something to say about it. So yeah, up and downside to that. Well, let's move on to Star Trek Beyond. I don't want to talk too much about it because I guess I'll be talking about it next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the early reviews have been overwhelmingly positive. People really, really like it. Which is
I'm really happy because I sort of liked Into Darkness. Like, I've heard all the criticisms for it and they're all very valid. But I still thought it was a very entertaining movie, and I liked the relationship between Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. So, their bromance is kind of cute, right?
It is amazing, yeah.
I'm looking forward to this film, although I don't think there's much of their bromance. I heard more of the bromance belongs to Zachary Quinto and the guy who did Dredd. What's his name?
Karl Urban, yeah.
Yeah, Karl Urban. He's awesome.
Karl Urban steals the show completely. This is Bones' movie. Far and away, he's really, really funny, and he gets some of the best lines in this. And yeah, for part of it, he and Spock, Bones and Spock, are stranded together, and they're trying to find the rest of the crew. So part of the story splits off to their buddy road trip, and it's really funny.
That's awesome to hear that this is funny.
It's written by Simon Pegg and Doug Jung. So Simon Pegg co-wrote it with and the screenwriter has a cameo in the movie.
Oh, okay.
The
thing is, I probably wouldn't recognize him, so you have to point it out for me next week.
Sure, yeah, I don't. It's kind of maybe a spoiler, so I'll tell you who it is next week. I'm gonna throw away all of my credibility by saying I loved Star Trek Into Darkness. I actually gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I gave it a perfect rating. I thought it was the best summer action movie of 2013. Actually, even more than Pacific Rim. I liked it.
Well, a lot of people didn't like Pacific Rim.
That's true.
I thought Into the Darkness was pretty good too. Like, I wouldn't give it a perfect score, but
Yeah, I
it's more of that
understand.
kind of film where the more I think about it, the more I dislike it, but not to the point of Batman v Superman where I think it's trash, but
No, Batman v Superman is not
I
trash. You have to give the Ultimate Edition a chance when it comes out.
yeah, I will. Once I get the money for it and once I can get my hands on the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
But
likewise.
yeah, I did like Into the Darkness, even though they broke the universe by having people come back to life. But I'm really looking forward to this film because I think it looks like there's a lot of heart into it. And Into the Darkness, as much as you can hate it, or as much as you hate it, there's so much heart to it, even though it's just a rip-off of another Star Trek movie. A Wrath of Khan, right?
It's not so much a rip-off of Wrath of Khan as it is a play on Wrath
A
of Khan.
reboot?
It's kind of like
Alright.
it's flipping the formula on its head and taking what you'd expect and doing the opposite, which I guess a lot of people found obnoxious, but which I really, really love. And with Into Darkness, it just there's no the, it's just Into Darkness, which is I know that threw me off a little bit as well. Star Trek Beyond is a better title than Star Trek Into Darkness because Star Trek Into Darkness is the short form of that is STID, and if it's a small I, it's just STD.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll let
okay.
that sit there for a while. So with this movie, a lot of people have been saying that it's much closer to the spirit of the original 60s show than the '09 movie or Into Darkness, and I can kind of see that. The thing for me is that I was really let down by the villain. It's a very generic villain, and when they reveal his backstory, it's kind of underwhelming. So I didn't really like that, but I think that it makes terrific use of the cast, which I maintain is still one of the best reboot casts ever assembled. The Star Trek '09 cast is impeccable. Everybody's perfect for everybody.
Yes, I agree with that. What happened to the girl? Eve. Is her name Eve? The blonde girl that was supposed to be Chris Pine's love interest.
Oh, Alice Eve from the
Yeah.
she's not in this. She's not mentioned at all. I don't know what happened to her.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Alright.
Instead, the female protagonist is played by Sofia Boutella, who is most famous for playing Gazelle in Kingsman: The Secret Service. So she is the standard kick-ass, tough warrior woman whom our Enterprise crew have to befriend when they're stranded on an unknown planet. So she too has been stranded there, and she has a long-standing vendetta against the villain Krall, played by Idris Elba.
Idris Elba I feel like he's in everything now.
Me too.
Which is great. I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. But I feel like his power is very much diminished by all the prosthetic makeup. Like he cannot really. He's such a powerful presence, but it feels like he cannot really act through it.
Yeah.
You have to work really hard to tell that it's Idris Elba, which is a shame.
Well, I mean, even as Shere Khan, he was Shere Khan, right?
Yes.
You could feel it, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the makeup. I think it's just. I think it's really the writing. I mean,
yeah, you'll be able to judge for yourself when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. He'll be a Marvel villain.
And yeah, he's already in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Heimdall, so I don't think he could play a Marvel villain.
Yeah, but he's definitely acting like a Marvel villain, which is an underwhelming villain.
Oh,
except
that's what
you're
you mean.
Loki.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I can see that, and you're absolutely correct. This is a Marvel Cinematic Universe villain, this guy. But yeah, I honestly didn't love it as much as all of the other early critics did. But it's worth a watch. I don't think Justin Lin messed up at all. I don't think that it feels too much like Fast and Furious. I think it feels enough like Star Trek. And I thought that the visual effects were marvelous. There's one huge establishing shot that took my breath away, which is kind of hard to do in a blockbuster because you feel like you've seen everything. But this one had a shot that was so good.
Alright, cool. I'll see whether I know what shot you're talking about when I watch it next week.
Yep. So let's move on to the movie of the day, which is Ghostbusters 2016. Gerry, do you want to tell us what the movie's about?
Oh crap, I forgot that this thing is reversed. Alright, because I have nothing prepared.
It's okay.
I'm just gonna try to remember at the top of my head. Okay. So there's something fishy going on in New York, and it's up to these 4 women who decide to become Ghostbusters and hunt down this ghost and try to figure out what's happening to New York City, and that's all I have.
Yep, that's basically it. So the four ladies are Melissa McCarthy playing Abby Yates. She's a paranormal researcher, and long time ago she co-authored a book with Aaron Gilbert, who is played by played by Kristen Wiig. She is she is now an esteemed professor at Columbia University, but she feels that her past writing this book threatens her credibility. And then the third member of the team is Gillian Holtzman, played by Kate McKinnon, who is a slightly loopy wild card but brilliant nuclear engineer. And the final member of the team is Patty Tolan, who is a subway worker with the New York Metropolitan Transportation Authority, who knows New York like the back of her hand. They hire a none too bright receptionist named Kevin to answer the phones for them. He's not very good at this job.
Okay.
All right, so Gerry, how did you feel about Ghostbusters 2016?
Okay, so the reboot, I really liked it.
Yay!
Like, I had a lot of fun with it.
Hooray!
And yeah, I was morbidly curious about this film, and before I watched it, I dug up some shit on Sony and what are some of the scumbag things that they did to make this film achievable. But despite all that, I do think that it's a pretty good film. I had fun. A lot of people said that oh shoot, I should have put up all the names there. Kate
McKinnon.
What's her name again?
Kate McKinnon.
Oh yeah, Kate McKinnon. A lot of people loved her character. I thought she was a little bit too much for me. I really love that Melissa McCarthy wasn't being over the top. I like that she's still she reminds me of a spy character, which I loved her in.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that's her best mode. I don't like it when she's mugging and she's being over the top. I find that annoying. I find her playing understated funny much better.
Yeah, me too. And you know, Kristen Wiig, she was fine. She plays the straight man in this, and she's great in it. Like, I like her arc. And
me too. Yeah.
Leslie Jones as Patty, like her too. You're right about Kevin. I was really disappointed by his character because I feel so bad for him most of the time because he probably cannot function in real life, and it kind of sucks.
It's really weird because with the character of Kevin, I don't know what kind of statement they're trying to make, whether it's like just a reversal of the blonde bimbo thing, but Kevin could easily go get a job as a model. And no offense, but he doesn't have to be very smart to do that. He's in New York, let him walk Fashion Week.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I'm like, oh, he looks really great with that saxophone. I'm listening to that saxophone.
I really laughed at the bit. Is it do I look better listening to the saxophone or playing the saxophone? And he holds it up to his ear in the photo.
Yeah, so I really like the characters, and by far my favorite part of this Ghostbusters reboot, and I know a lot of people disagree with it, is the ghost designs. I friggin' love it. Like, it reminds me of Scooby-Doo, it reminds me of Haunted Mansion, where they look fake, but not fake, but there's this really cool art style to them where they look scary but not disturbing, like the nun from Conjuring 2.
Yeah,
they just look so damn cool, and every time they introduce us to a new ghost, I'm just like, oh my god, this is so cool and awesome, and I'm having such a great time. Yeah.
So my overall thoughts on it are that I liked it on the whole, and I went in skeptical-ish, but I did not make up my mind either way before going in, and I feel that this is one of those movies where it's very difficult to determine who has and who hasn't already made up their mind going in if you're just judging from a review and you don't know that person's thought process before, which is tricky. At the same time, I liked it. I think that these four have really good chemistry, and I know I've said it before that I thought nobody could ever come close to the original cast, but I'm eating my words here. We have these ladies, and they're great. They're really good. They work really well together. Their comedy styles and their timings click. They are funny, and they look like they know what they're doing, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's really I love their chemistry too.
Yeah, the main things that I didn't like about this were I thought the villain was kind of underwhelming, and like I said before, it ends with a giant CGI battle in Times Square, which you know from the trailer, and it's too much like everything we've seen before. It's just them shooting and punching things, and things are not there, shooting and punching CGI things, and I don't know how I would have ended it otherwise, but it really pales in comparison to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man Rampage of the first movie, or even the animated Statue of Liberty of the second.
Well, I really like the climax of the film because I love the ghost design. So more ghosts for me is, I'm just really happy. So I didn't mind that it was all CG.
That's
Even
fair.
though, yeah, I do much prefer the ending for Ghostbusters 1 and 2, but this reboot could have been worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
And going back to the ghost design, I do agree with you. I like the obvious inspiration from the Haunted Mansion, and I really like the opening scene of the movie, which has Zach Woods.
Yes.
He's so funny playing the tour guide at Aldrich Mansion. Zach Woods, most people would know him as Gabe Lewis from The Office, and he's also on Silicon Valley, and he's by far my favorite character on Silicon Valley. I love that guy. I
love him too.
He's so funny, and it was no worries at all. It was such a great idea to have him be the first person we see. And once he has some jokes in the opening where I heard them and I was like, this is a funny script. Like it immediately put me at ease knowing that it wasn't going to be all misfires. Like not 100% of the jokes landed, but I would say 75 to 80, and that's more than good enough.
Zach Woods was also the guy in Spy that Melissa McCarthy was like.
Yeah, he was in Spy as well. That's right.
Yeah, and I loved him in Spy too, if I remembered it right, which character he played. Yeah, but I love the first ghost that they introduced. I forgot her name, but I love the backstory with it. Yeah, it's so creepy.
It is creepy. It's really well done.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in the trailer, so it's alright to spoil it, right?
It's alright to spoil it, yeah. It's a creepy lady.
You see her, and she's just like beautiful and all that, and then she turns into this monster, and she starts sliming Kristen Wiig, and I think that's like, I don't know, like that ghost design is so cool. Like she can look so beautiful, and you just know that someone, it was taped, and then after that they obviously CG'd it in, which is kind of cool. And I'm saying cool so much because that's really what I love the ghost designs, I'm sorry. Yeah, but I love that it looks so creepy, but at the same time, it's just so beautiful, man. I love it. And as for my downsides for this movie, a lot of people were complaining about the cameos. I agree with that. I really did not like Bill Murray's cameo. I thought the rest were alright.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I was disappointed with what they went with.
Yeah, I felt like there was a big FU to the fans of Ghostbusters because, like we said last week, both of us don't really have an emotional connection, but we know what it's like to love a movie like crazy and to hold it so dear to our heart that when they do something to a character or do something to the actor that we don't like and it feels like it's very disrespectful towards the character that he played before. I don't know, like I kind of got mad for the Ghostbusters fans.
Yeah, that brings us to the reaction and the backlash that not only the fans had towards the movie, but the filmmakers and the cast. Like we mentioned last week, Melissa McCarthy saying that people who don't like this movie are just man-children living in their mother's basements, and then Judd Apatow, who is a good friend of Paul Feig, came out and said that if you don't like this movie, you're a Trump supporter. I really wish they had taken the high road instead of just trading insults with the trolls, because you're not gonna win and you're gonna just make yourself look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there was certain jokes in the movie where I felt like it was a bit on the nose. They were saying, oh, they have negative YouTube comments.
Yeah.
And yeah, but on the whole, I think that it's quite clear that Paul Feig and Katie Dippold, who co-wrote this movie, loved the original Ghostbusters movie and I think they do understand how it works. I don't think it's so tone deaf as to be completely insulting to anyone who votes. Yeah, if you separate yourself from all the backlash, if you just watch the original Ghostbusters and then watch this, it's not like crapping all over the first movie at all.
Yeah. And they do have new weapons to fight ghosts too, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I like that. Well, I guess it's a little bit generic, but in the first Ghostbusters, I was really caught off guard by how they just became the Ghostbusters.
So was I.
And
Yeah.
and they didn't need to like field test anything, but in
Mm-hmm.
this one they sort of built it up, which I thought was really cool. I need to stop saying cool. I'm so sorry. I thought it was interesting, an interesting take on Ghostbusters, and I heard like old fans complaining, actually using that as a criticism for the film. But to that, I disagree. It's because you're used to that structure in the original Ghostbusters. That's why I don't think you're used to this film structure, and it's different. Like there's a lot more backstory. There's a lot more building up to them, being Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
and I liked it, and it was fine. Like it's just a different take, but in the end, they became Ghostbusters.
it's like what we said, it's one of those tropes that we always expect from a superhero movie, and it can be a lot of fun, is the montage of the hero trying out his or her powers for the first time. And I liked that. I liked that we had the evolution of the proton packs, that the prototype was heavier, you had to cart it in, it was not as mobile, and they were problem solving. They were saying, all right, we need to fix this. We need to make this smaller. We need to have more control over this. And they had bits where they were testing the proton streams and it went way out of control. I like that, and I think that that's one of the complaints that I had about the original Ghostbusters, is that they kind of seem fully formed, and it seemed like they knew what they were doing right out the gate, which nobody would. Nobody would know what they're doing right out the gate, especially when you're working with a field that's so untested and equipment that's so potentially dangerous.
Mm-hmm. The ghost that they went to look for in the subway, though, that was a cool ghost. Sorry.
Yeah, what I did like about that ghost, and it, in addition to the design, it's that it was an actress that they filmed. It wasn't a completely computer generated ghost, it was computer enhanced. And this is something which Crimson Peak, very different movie, but it did really well too, because Crimson Peak had Doug Jones, who is the physical performer, who did Ape Sapien, who did a bunch of the characters from Pan's Labyrinth. He's one of Guillermo del Toro's go-to guys, and he performed the ghosts, and then they use CG to augment him and composite him into the background. And I like that. You shoot a live element, but it's not completely created digitally. It's augmented, it's enhanced, and I feel that that's the most effective way to create something like that, especially if the character is humanoid.
Yep. Okay, and I want to talk about the music for a little bit, because
Sure, yeah.
that orchestra version of the Ghostbusters theme song was really good.
I loved
But,
it. Yeah, I kind of got chills.
Yeah. So the Fall Out Boy version, right? A lot of people hate them. Okay, everyone hates them. Even I hate it. But I don't hate the Fall Out Boys. I just don't like that music. I thought it worked fine in the film. Like, it was a little bit jarring, but for the beat and for the pacing that the film was going at, and for the scene that was trying to the sequence that was in the song that was in the sequence was not too bad. Like, I thought it fit the moment, and it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Where was it? I actually don't know where the Fallout Boy
think
song was.
It's before, right before, it's the first mission where they go to the theater.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, but the orchestra version of Ghostbusters theme song was really good.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been nice to get a radically different cover of the Ghostbusters theme song, to get a group or a singer to do something different with it, because the cover that we got is more or less similar to the Ray Parker Jr. version, but maybe that's one thing that people would have really, really been mad had they changed too much.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah.
And we eventually did get something that's, there's the Fall Out Boy version, which was kind of crappy, and then the credits, there was another Ghostbusters theme song.
Yeah.
And that one was more, it was more towards the Ray Parker version, so it's not too bad. Don't worry, guys. It was only that one time that they played Fall Out Boy, and it wasn't even the full song. So
yeah.
It's all good.
Okay, so what did you like or not like about the action sequences in this? Did you feel that there was enough spectacle, and do you feel that it stacks up or approaches the original, in addition to the comedy and action?
Well, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't that okay, how do you say this? It was exciting to the point where it wasn't boring, but it wasn't anything we haven't seen before.
Yeah, like I guess, and the budget for this is something like 150 million or something crazy like that. I don't really see it. That's about the budget of one of those Marvel movies is 150 million, I guess. And compared to Spy, like I think Spy had better action sequences than this had.
Yeah.
Like I really
agree.
loved the kitchen fight in Spy, and I wanted to see
Mhm.
something like that in this movie, which we didn't really get.
I guess they kind of had it with Kate McKinnon's character.
A little bit, I
But-
don't know, yeah, like the video
yeah.
game thing of her going through the ghost in slow motion, which you have in the trailer.
Oh, alright,
Yeah,
in the trailer.
so-
Never mind.
Yeah, I have to because I know that it sounds like a spoiler, but we're not hitting spoilers yet. Actually, do you want to do spoilers?
Let's just like round out
Okay.
what our conclusion is. First.
Yep. General thoughts. Would you recommend this, Gerry? Would you recommend Ghostbusters 2016?
I would recommend it if you have an open mind. It's not as bad as some of the haters are saying. It's a perfectly fine film. I think that, Spy and Bridesmaids are much better Paul Feig films, but it's not. I didn't like The Heat that much, and I was afraid there would be more like The Heat or even worse than The Heat. But it's a perfectly fine film. It's unnecessary for sure, but maybe down the line when they've already established these characters, they can go on and do whatever lore they want. And I'm looking forward to the sequel if this does well.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad film. I do recommend it for people who just want a fun time in the theaters. Well, then again, Star Trek Beyond is coming out next week, and you said it was really funny, so I'm not sure if this is relevant anymore. But it's a really fun film, and it has a really, really great energy, and you won't hate yourself for watching it unless you are totally enamored by the first Ghostbusters film.
Yeah, and like what we said last week, we are gonna get flack for it, but the first Ghostbusters film is a comedy classic, but I don't think it's untouchable. I don't think it's perfect, and I think that a lot of people have put it on this totally way too high pedestal. Like, yeah, if you put Ghostbusters next to Back to the Future, there's no comparison, there's no contest at all. Back to the Future is objective.
Oh man, we shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It's so controversial.
No.
Even though I agree with you, but it's very controversial.
It is controversial, and I'm not saying people who love the original Ghostbusters movie are stupid because it's a good movie, but I feel that once the news of the reboot came out, everyone started taking it as this lofty, unapproachable thing that should be in a museum. And I don't think even Ivan Reitman would say that of the first one. I don't.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I think the biggest mistake that they've made with this film, that's the biggest FU to the fans, it's not that it's an all-female cast. It's that they got rid of all the lore in the original Ghostbusters. And, I like that it's a reboot in a sense where it feels like an otherworld thing.
Like an alternate
it's-
universe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's another dimension,
Yeah.
and it's a different canon.
Yeah,
So-
that's right. Like Star Trek, I suppose.
But the thing is, Star Trek established that it was a different canon.
Yeah, and Star
the
Trek
canon
had the
that
same characters.
people grew up with. Yeah, the canon that people grew up with, it's still there, and they aren't gonna take that away.
Mhm.
And this one, it felt like they were taking away everything they knew about Ghostbusters. Even though the Blu-ray is there, it's like, no, you change continuity. There's no more Bill Murray. There's no more Dan Aykroyd. There's no more
Yeah,
the original Ghostbusters. They're all gone.
because they are appearing in this movie as separate characters, which kills the possibility that Ray and Winston and Egon and Peter are out there somewhere in the original form. So that is that is actually the biggest issue that I had before going in. But after I watched the movie, I wasn't as bothered by it. Like, I still think that it would have been a better idea to do Jurassic World with Ghostbusters. It would have been a better idea to say, we're just picking up many years later, these are new guys, all girls, /and girls, who are being trained by one or more of the original. And like Extreme Ghostbusters, like the TV series did, but
And the biggest reason why Paul Feig didn't want to do a Ghostbusters continuation with an all-female cast is because he didn't want the girls to just find the equipment. He wanted them to make it themselves. But the thing is, they could have always improved on the packs. What are they called again?
the proton pack.
the proton packs, yeah.
Like they
And
could have done a thing where you have Jillian finding Egon stuff and saying this is great, but here are some tweaks that I would like to make.
yeah, and Paul Feig, come on, like it was guys who made Ghostbusters. You cannot deny that, and it was their idea, or they were inspired by another person to make Ghostbusters and make it the classic that it is now. So it's not offensive for you to go and change. I mean, it's not offensive for girls to find a proton pack. It really isn't. What is sexist is that they rely on the guys too much. It's like you can always just use that as a stepping stone, and then the girls can prove themselves to be Ghostbusters by fixing the proton packs, and then also having their own equipments, building it like what they did in this film.
Precisely. I mean, if we go back to Jurassic World, the presence of Chris Pratt doesn't mean that Jeff Goldblum is shat upon or there's no more Sam Neill. It's just building on that. He's a different guy in the same world. No, whatever, man.
Well,
yeah, and
it's over.
So, all right, I'm not trying to be controversial for the sake of it. I'm not trying to bait anybody, but honestly, I think that if you conducted an experiment and you had someone under a rock, you showed them Ghostbusters, then you showed them Ghostbusters 2016, completely out of context, no reference point, no hype, no hate, no backlash, nothing. That person would say, the original's better, but the new one's not that bad.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
And in fact, like, I'm sure some girls would love the new Ghostbusters, like small girls, those who've never seen the original.
Sure, yeah.
They will probably like this one more, and that's because it stars female characters, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's a really lovely photo that's been going around of Kristen Wiig greeting this little girl who's dressed up in a Ghostbusters uniform on the red carpet in Hollywood. And yeah, I love that. That should be what we're aiming for. It's just like Daisy Ridley in Star Wars. And I mean, it doesn't have to be solely a political statement, neither should it be. But if you have icons like that for girls that boys have had so many of, why not? It doesn't threaten anybody. Yeah. And
little boys. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Little boys, you still have Batman, you still have Superman, you still have Captain America, you still have not Iron Man because he's a terrible role model. But
yeah, please.
But I mean, I grew up loving a lot of male characters. Okay, I grew up loving a lot of male characters, and it's not because of their gender, it's because I relate to them as human beings. And I think that a lot of little boys can also relate to these female characters because they're so human. Well, not so, okay, Kate McKinnon, her character is
she's
whatever.
an alien, which is wonderful. I like her. She's just weird.
Oh, all right. I don't really like her, but her character, not the actress. But I think that little boys, you show them this, I think you let them gain a lot of respect for women, honestly, and I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, and I feel like half the argument is for more female characters in films. It's not because little girls need someone to look up to, because that's not really the point. The point is that little boys need to learn how to respect women, and they cannot see that if women are being used as damsel in distress or just a love interest. No, you show them that women can fight, you show them that women can be funny, and because of that, little boys won't grow up thinking, I'm better than women. No, they're like, hey, women are, I'm saying women so much, but our female friends are just as good as us. Unless you have like a really small, low confidence in yourself that anything a woman does better, you get really uptight about it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, anything I remotely know how to do, I know women who do it much, much better than me. So I have never, ever been in doubt that anything a guy can do, a woman can do just as well. And it does open up the can of worms in that, it's just there to make a statement. It's not there to tell a good story. But why not both? You can do both at the same time. And for me, I guess one of the issues with this is that a lot of the humor is not very appropriate for young children. The first joke that Kate...
Well, then again, you look at the original Ghostbusters.
Blowjob Ghost, which is Exhibit 1 Blowjob Ghost. So fine.
It's okay. It's so hypocritical too, because a lot of people that I follow on for reviews, a lot of them are guys. I'm sorry, it's becoming a sex thing or a gender thing, but
it's fine.
really,
Yeah, this is a safe space.
I know a lot of amazing guys who genuinely like who give very valid criticisms for this film, and I have no problem with that. But there was this guy I saw his review, and he's complaining about how there's so many women part jokes, and that's not funny and that's lame. But it's like, well, the original Ghostbusters had so many dick jokes, and it also had so many inappropriate humor, and it had very lowest common. Ah, damn it!
Yeah,
I keep
lowest
saying,
common denominator.
there you
No
go.
worries. It's
Lowest
difficult
common
to say.
denominator.
Yeah, it's difficult to say.
Lowest common denominator jokes, and you're only blinded by nostalgia not to see that, so it's not a valid criticism if you love the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I guess that if you're being particularly uncharitable, you could say that it's an example of, oh, girls can make dirty jokes too, which is one of the criticisms that was not very fairly leveled at Bridesmaids. But I feel that we should have moved past that. It's like, guys can make dirty jokes, girls can make dirty jokes, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's like, alright. I mean, I think it's really bad, the humor. Well, except the dick joke in the this man has no dick. I thought that joke was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I don't really like that kind of humor.
Sure, yeah.
But that applies for both Ghostbusters and this Ghostbusters, so yeah.
On the whole, the style of humor of this movie is different in that it's very Paul Feig, and in the original Ghostbusters, it's more sardonic. It's kind of like, it's drier and it's more of a more deadpan. Like, most of it is Bill Murray just rolling his eyes at stuff. And in this one, it's brash and in your face. So the style of jokes is different. And I think that I'm okay with that, because it's not a carbon copy of the original. It's trying to be in the spirit of the original without completely aping the style. So I was okay with the way the comedy being done, with the different way in which the comedy is being done. I've got stupid tongue tonight, sorry.
I always have stupid tongue, it's alright.
Aw. Yeah,
alright,
so
you wanna go on to spoilers?
Yeah, spoilers for Ghostbusters 2016.
The ending where they're in a different dimension kind of reminded me a little bit of
Big Hero 6.
Even like the colors.
Me too, yeah. I liked it though. I mean, I liked
it too.
I like the arc.
It's cliche, but it's the arc, so.
Yeah, and I burst out laughing at the title of their book. Ghosts.
What's it called again?
Ghosts, both literal and figurative.
Alright.
and the back cover has them like wearing black turtleneecks and with their head like on
top.
It
was in the credits.
On top of the other, like the Simon and Garfunkel album cover, and it's really funny. Okay, so it's kind of a spoiler. Charles Dance is in it, but it's a throwaway role. It's the kind of thing he always does.
Who's Dance?
Charles Dance plays the dean who fires, like, the angry old British man who fires Kristen Wiig.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, he's best known as Tywin Lannister for today's audiences on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And he was the guy in Imitation Game who was scolding Benedict Cumberbatch a lot.
Didn't watch that yet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's alright.
I have it on my iTunes, I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a waste of Charles Dance. So speaking of wastes of actors, let's go into the cameos. What did you think of each character's cameo?
Okay, I thought Ernie Hudson had the best one.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I
liked Sigourney Weaver's one. The one who played the receptionist, she was alright.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd, a little bit. Am I saying his name right?
Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, sorry. Dan Aykroyd. His cameo was a little bit too
disposable.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts or something like that, right?
He was a taxi driver who said, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts." Yeah.
It's alright.
Bill Murray's was the worst, which we all can agree on. Yeah.
Alright, okay, can we talk about Bill Murray's? Okay, so he plays this guy who is a ghost debunker.
Dr. Martin Heiss.
Yeah, which is an insult, obviously.
Yes.
And then after that, he goes into the ghost homes, and not homes, but the office, and he gets killed by a ghost. Or it's implied that he was killed by a ghost.
Yeah, he's pushed out the window or something, and we
What
don't
the
see him
hell?
again. Well, like, okay, let's try and find the silver lining. I guess of the original crew, Peter was originally the most skeptical. Like, he was the least believing of the three of them. So
Yeah,
maybe
but
you can
he
make
was
that
still
argument.
a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, in the end, he still could not deny the existence of ghosts. I know it.
Okay, there is. I think there is a Han Solo death, and then there is a Bill Murray death. Han Solo's death was amazing and was set up so well, and it was so true to the character, and he died a valiant death.
Yeah.
What the Bill Murray, he was just a different character who felt, I don't know, it just felt like, I hate that he didn't believe in ghosts, but okay, and he died such a lame death, and it doesn't feel like it's honoring him as a Ghostbuster, as the first Ghostbuster actor.
Yeah, not at all.
And
yeah,
he kind of had the same story as dang it, what's his name? It's slipping my mind.
Ivan
the guy,
Reitman?
No, Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford?
Oh yeah, sorry. Please don't kill me.
No, that's alright.
Okay, so Harrison Ford, he didn't want to do Star Wars, or it never felt like he wanted to do Star Wars. So he was really happy. He was really happy when he was called back to do Star Wars for some reason, and then we found out why. It's because he wanted to kill off his character so that they won't ask him to come back.
But I think he's still coming back.
Oh, really? Well, sorry, Harrison Ford.
Yeah. I don't know in what capacity, but apparently he's in the credits for episode 8.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah.
And Bill Murray's death was just not cool at all. Like, the setup and everything, it was just a disaster. Like, I hated him as a character in this film, and he didn't do much, and he really didn't deserve that death, man. I'm sorry, because when you look at it, he will always be a Ghostbuster, and even though he's in a different universe, you remember him as Peter, and it sucks that he had to go out the way he did.
I kind of feel like maybe it's not 100% confirmed that he died, because we didn't see the body and we didn't hear people go, oh, he died. It looked painful, but I think they also survived similarly, crashing down on top of the car. So there's a possibility he's not dead. Maybe. Yeah, well, the same Sony documents that you were referring to earlier, talking about not Paul Feig, like Ivan Reitman being arm twisted into producing this, also talked about threatening aggressive litigation against Bill Murray if he refused to promote the film. So he has always been the most reluctant to do anything related with Ghostbusters, and he's a little bit of a weird character in Hollywood because he famously doesn't have an agent. He has an answering machine. So people call the answering machine, leave the script, and if he likes it, he'll call you back. So he's never really been one for the overall studio system, and it makes sense that he's reluctant to promote this, but at the same time, I really wish he had come out with something better for his cameo.
Yeah.
The
Honey Hudson looks great though.
Oh yeah.
I think he aged the best out of all of them.
Of course, yeah. And people were talking about how, this Ghostbusters cast, these women are also unattractive. And I was like, hey, come on. Out of the original cast, nobody's attractive except Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson is a fox, and he's really sexy. But other than that, the rest of them are not particularly sexy at all. Maybe Bill Murray.
I do like.
Sorry, go ahead.
I do like that the characters felt different from the original Ghostbusters.
Yes, that was one of my favorite things, that they did not clone Ray. They did not clone Peter, and they did not clone. I was trying to look for a clone of Peter actually, and I realized that they didn't have that. They didn't have the asshole off to the side who's being mean to people and who's kind of half in it, half not in it. They didn't have that character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you could say that Jillian is kind of sort of Egon. That's the most obvious parallel, but even then, she's a lot more over the top than he was.
I don't like her as a character. Like, she felt like a character that was built to be everyone's favorite character.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Like, she had the best scenes, she had the best lines. Well, sort of the best lines.
Yeah, like she's engineered to be the breakout character.
yeah, and I don't know. It's just it's not. She's not that great. She's a little bit over the top. I mean, I can't really say that I hate characters that don't feel like real life people because I love Jason Statham in Spy,
Yeah.
but her character just felt so. Her and Kevin, they just there was nothing that made me feel anything for them. Like Patty, at least she was a little bit more down to earth, and then Kristen Stewart and Melissa McCarthy,
Kristen Wiig.
their relationship had some. Sorry, Kristen Wiig had some. What did I say?
Kristen Stewart, which would have been a different movie.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll cut that out. Kristen Stewart and Melissa McCarthy, they had their
You said
own
Kristen Stewart
drama
again,
going.
so now you can't
Damn
cut
it!
it out.
No, I will cut this out. Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy had their own drama going on, and I thought that grounded them as characters. And then you see this other character with them, and it just she's just I don't know how to say it. She felt a little bit too cartoony and out of place in this world.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. And I think that she feels a lot less like a real character, and so does Kevin, even when compared to Patty, who is maybe a tiny bit a racist stereotype. You know, she's the sassy black woman, but at the same time, she's the every woman character who's in there to provide like a layperson's perspective and not be an egghead scientist who throws around all of the jargon. So I understand the need for that character. I wasn't bothered by Gillian as much as you were, for the main reason that Kate McKinnon's delivery is very sharp. Like, I totally get what you mean, where the vibe coming off the character is that she was engineered in a writer's room and sort of tinkered with an audience tested to perfection to be the breakout character, and it's really obvious that that's what the character's function is. But Kate McKinnon is super funny, and her timing's really, really good.
Alright. I disagree with that, but
like I think for me
subjective.
the one Gillian moment I like the most is when she's eating the potato chips and she goes, "You try say no to these salty parabolas," and that's funny.
I think she was overacting in a lot of scenes. I don't know. Maybe it's not the type of humor that I like. Does that make me boring?
No, it's fine. Like, I mean, she and Leslie Jones are both from Saturday Night Live. I have stupid tongue tonight. So Saturday Night Live is all about impressions, and most of the impressions on that show are exaggerated for the sake of the comedy. So I can see that that's where that comes from. It doesn't mean it's a good thing, but that's the source of it. That's her trading. I feel like Kate McKinnon has what it takes to be a comedy A-lister. I feel that she's got a lot of star quality. So if this is what it takes to boost her to the A-list, even if it's a kind of an annoying character, I don't mind that. I think she deserves it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I mean I really dug her Ellen impression, and I think her Justin Bieber impression is spot on. It's really good.
Do you want to talk about anything else?
Oh yeah, so you were talking about Ernie Hudson's cameo being the best, and that is actually the one that was spoiled for me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there was another reporter at the Sony Summit who said, "Oh, I heard that he's actually playing the uncle of Patty, who lent them the hearse," and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." I think you're right. So yeah, that it's fun to cheer and laugh when you spot them, and the movie ended, and I was like, "Where's Sigourney Weaver?" And then she showed up as Gillian.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I was like, did I miss Sigourney Weaver? Because I'm terrible at faces. So I was really sad that I missed her, but I didn't. So that was cool.
And I like that she was the mentor to Gillian, because that means we might see her back. Like of all of them, she's the most likely to come back. If you look at the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So spoilers. Oh.
You want to talk about the evil villain's plan, or is that too boring?
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What did you think of the cameo and the way they did it?
I'd rather him not have any expressions. He doesn't need to look angry or evil looking to be evil.
That's right, yeah.
Like I said, right? That's not the point of Stay Puft.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait, I want to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
The ghost in, their logo ghost?
Yeah.
The way he came out, Oh my god, it was 2D animation. It looks so damn cool.
I love that. That is my favorite moment of the whole film. The way they did that, the
Yeah.
Roger Rabbitness of it. I really, really miss seeing things
same.
like that. And
It's so damn cool.
yeah, and it's a good idea for that to be the final form of Rowan, and I like that that Rowan wasn't the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which was both our initial assumption. When we both saw it, we were like, oh, I hate the redesign of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But that's
And
not
I
it.
still do.
I mean,
it's still pretty terrible.
no, as in, like, the Rowan's final ghost form was not meant to be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It was meant to be the no ghost symbol. So I would rather that than it being the Stay Puft Marshmallow. Yeah, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
But the Stay Puft was still there and was still as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
I like the idea of balloon ghosts. I like the idea of like a possessed Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, because that's an endemically New York thing, and it's a cool idea. And them being attacked by the balloons, like you pull back and you see the scale of it, how big the balloons are compared to them. That was kind of fun. I was okay with the concept of it, if not exactly the execution. Yeah, but the balloon, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man balloon coming down on them and then they are pressed up against the lens of the camera, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was very unglam, but I'm gonna give credits to the actresses who are willing to look that weird on camera on a big screen.
Yeah,
kudos to them.
That's what Melissa McCarthy said during her interview. She said that you cannot be afraid of looking silly. If you're afraid of looking silly, you shouldn't be a comedian. And yeah, I have to kind of agree with that.
Yep.
Okay, so sorry.
What else is there to talk about?
The villain's plan, I guess, which it's standard
it was
issue.
A plan.
Yeah, release everybody, overrun.
He's angry at the world and wants. The part where he went into his lair in the basement, and then you see those. I'm sure we've seen this somewhere before. I just don't remember where. But
yeah, all of the hands against the frames. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god! Visually, that was so. It was so creepy, it was so cool.
The other scary.
I need to find a thesaurus for cool. It was
radical, neat. Totally rad. The other ghost which I found kind of scary, which I really liked, was the mannequin, and that reminded me so.
That was so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Rad.
That was a rad. That was a great effect, and it's 100% the Autons from Doctor Who. So in Doctor Who,
didn't watch Doctor Who. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, lots of people don't, and I probably wouldn't have if not for it being pushed on me by a friend. But there is like. There are these mannequins that are possessed basically, and it's kind of like that. But the animation for this one, it really worked. It felt very, very creepy, and I think all the little movements that the mannequin did, I wanted more of that. I wanted more of the mannequin.
Yes.
Okay, so
I love it too. I love that the mannequin is there, and then Patty turns back and is like, "Oh, I hope that didn't move," or something like that.
I hope that wasn't. Yeah,
lines.
I hope that always was there.
Yeah, and I love that they stayed. The camera just stayed there. There was no cut, and then the mannequin just started moving again. I thought that effect was really cool.
Yes, that's probably the closest the movie came to being genuinely frightening.
Well, there were some parts that were pretty frightening. I mean, it's not like scary, but it was like I don't feel comfortable scary.
Yeah, it fits, and I don't know, like the whole thing of the loner who is angry at the world. I don't really like that sort of villain, because we have it so often, especially in comedies, where it's this like you've been bullied your whole life and you want to take revenge in the world for it. And I mean, Syndrome is probably the most positive example of that. But this was very
Syndrome was because of that one guy.
Yeah, this was very underwhelming in that Neil Casey's funny and he's in skits and stuff. You can go look for them online, but I thought that he was a really underwhelming villain on the whole.
Yep, I agree.
So the last big thing for spoilers is the post-credit scene.
I thought it was cool.
When Patty was listening to the EVP, I was in my chair going, "Please be Vigo, please be Vigo, please be Vigo."
I'm glad I did the podcast with you, Zul, because I cannot for the life of me remember the villain's name from the first Ghostbusters until we talked about it last week. So when Zul came up, I was in my chair, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I get that reference.
You're lucky that Zool possessed me at the beginning of the show last week. If not, you wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, but I like that cliffhanger. The thing is, I like. Okay, this is how you do post-credit scenes, which I thought Marvel never does anymore. They do a really poor job at their post-credits nowadays, and I think this Ghostbusters they did a better job at it, in which you finish your entire film and then you make your post-credits worth something. So even if you're not going to get a sequel, right? Like at least only those people who are willing to stay back knows about it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Marvel post-credit scene that does this the best, and that is the closest to this, was Coulson finding Thor's hammer at the end of Iron Man 2.
Yes.
Yeah, because
that was such a cool.
That was great. Yeah, we New Mexico, we found it. Awesome. So yeah,
I didn't get it, by the way.
The first time you didn't know that was
like,
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, it's a hammer. And the thing is, I love Norse mythology. I just didn't know why
didn't make the connection
together. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I know a lot of people are going to be angry because Zool is Zool, and if you redo Zool, it's going to piss a lot of people off. So we'll see what happens with that. And it's another one of those problems where you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because of how iconic the original version of what you're going to do is, but yet you have to honor that while still being its own thing. So I'm hoping for something along the lines of Michael Shannon as General Zod.
Oh my god. Sorry, I love him.
Yeah.
As General Zod.
I need a Zool like that.
I really hope in the sequel, because they're planning to do a Ghostbusters universe with male Ghostbusters and female Ghostbusters, and then they're gonna come together and they're gonna defeat Zool. Like, that's their plan.
That sounds like such a Sony thing to do.
Yeah. But I really hope that in the next movie with the female Ghostbusters, they acknowledge that this is another world, and then they bring back Bill Murray, and he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm from another dimension, just get rid of the ghoul, and then he goes back to his own dimension. You just need. I feel like this reboot is so dirty because it dishonors any of the lore that the original film set up. And yes, Ghostbusters 2 wasn't that great, and that probably ruined people's childhood or whatever. But that doesn't, it still doesn't give this new Ghostbusters the right to not acknowledge the first Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I mean, what I would really like, and I don't think they're gonna do this, is that there's a portal to another dimension, and the four of them look in the portal, and then they see the original four look back, and it's like CGI de-aged or whatever, and then they go, huh, and then that's just the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, they just look at the portal, and then they see like four guys
like,
apparently
one
wearing.
Opens up a fridge.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, what's there? And it's like a original Ghostbusters.
That's actually that's even better that it's through the fridge. Like, how come I didn't think of that? Awesome. awesome. Yeah, I would be so happy if they did that, because it would be an homage to the Dana Fridge thing, but it would also acknowledge that this is a parallel universe, and relax guys, there's still Bill Murray Prime. I just hope that they do a good enough CGI job on the young versions of all of them so it isn't creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of talking about Ghostbusters 2016. And so finally, do you think that all of this is a storm in a teacup? I think it kind of is.
Storm in a teacup?
Like, it's way...
I've never heard of that.
You've not heard of that expression?
No.
Oh, it's an expression that means people are making way too big of a deal out of something that shouldn't be made that big a deal of.
Yes, but it's also because Ghostbusters is an important film for so many people, and it's a combination of the new Ghostbusters and the old Ghostbusters. So I say that this new Ghostbusters is like the interview of 2016, in which it's a meh film or it's an okay film.
Also
it's
Sony.
Also Sony. Maybe this is their plan all along,
Yeah,
to have like this.
Play.
They figure out like, oh crap, there are so many films that we want to make that's not going to make any money, like MIB 23 or something.
I think people
let's just pretend that there's this controversy going on, and then like that helps us promote the film because people like drama, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe maybe it was Sony who directed Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig to insult everybody.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah.
Conspiracy
So
theory.
yeah. So what was I about to say? I lost my train of thoughts. Oh yeah.
About it being
So
like made a big deal of, yeah.
yeah. It's a meh film, but it's a very meh film with a lot of controversy surrounding it that it probably doesn't deserve. But
I
at the same
wouldn't,
time,
yeah. Sorry,
at
go
the
ahead.
same time, sorry, at the same time, I also think like I understand why fans are so against this, and not everyone who's against this is a sexist.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah.
the reason why I think it means the reason why I think it means less to us, and we think that oh this is just people. Well, not we don't think that, but like
Some people.
people are making
Yeah.
such a big fuss out of this film. But I think to others it's more of a stand. It's more like a pride thing where this film is so important to me, Ghostbusters, the original one, and it's an insult for you to think that you can reboot this and make this a better film. You know?
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's just like what I said earlier, where it's being put on a pedestal and not without reason. It has its place as a classic, and there are plenty of reasons why it should be a classic, and it means a lot more to a lot of people than it does to you or I. But at the same time, this is the world we live in, that anything's up for grabs if there's name recognition attached to it. And if you make a reboot of anything in any form, odds are you're gonna get negative buzz out the gate. But I feel that there's still the possibility for good reboots. There's still the possibility for stuff like Rise and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes to emerge every so often.
And Rise and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's great because the continuity is still there.
Yeah, it's a complete rethinking of the concept, but it still honors the original.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is not really, but at the same time, I don't think it's abominable, and I guess the expression meh tends towards the negative, and I would say this is averagey above averagey. I wouldn't say it's spectacular, but I also wouldn't say it's insulting and it's really, really bad. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's very fair. I mean, to me it is.
Yeah.
I don't know about Ghostbusters like fanboy.
And like, if you hate it, you have every right to hate it, but
as long as it's not for stupid reasons,
Yeah.
like oh because it's an all-female cast.
yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you hate it, give us some good reasons, logically argue your point, and fine. I don't begrudge anybody that. Yeah, it's so awkward talking about this because you don't know who you're gonna get in trouble with, and I've probably offended so many people by saying that Back to the Future is better than Ghostbusters.
Shh, don't say that. By the way, please, I know both of us watched this Ghostbusters Reboot, but please don't remake not Ghostbusters. Please don't remake
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. That film is fine. It doesn't need it.
If they do remake Back to the Future though,
please don't make it female. Though.
Zoe Deutch
Like,
exists, so just put her in the Leah Thompson role. Leah Thompson's daughter, who looks a lot like her mom, and who is actually pretty funny. So, but don't do it. it's.
But I mean, if you do it, just well, to be fair, there is sort of like a similar thing to Back to the Future, which is Ricky and Morty. Is it Ricky and Morty?
Rick and Morty,
sorry.
Yeah. Rick and Morty is Dan Harmon's riff on Back to the Future. And I guess the thing with Back to the Future is the what makes it a tantalizing reboot possibility. Oh my gosh, this sounds terrible, but what is that the 80s were the present of when the movie came out. The 80s are now the past. So you're playing with it by making the present of the original the past of the new one. Like Terminator, I guess. Jerry's dead silent on the other hand.
Yeah, it's alright. I'm too scared to say anything.
No, yeah, I'm not arguing in favor of that, but I'm just saying that this is how it could be rationalized.
Alright, let's move on to news.
Yeah, okay, so the first big piece of news is that a live-action Pokemon film is officially on the cards because of the overwhelming thunderous success of the cultural phenomenon that is the augmented reality game Pokemon Go. So, I have no personal connection to Pokemon, Don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so take the reins on this, Jerry.
All right. So Pokemon, I played most of it except Black and White, which I heard was the best Pokemon game. But Pokemon, the story is very simple. It's always just you're a kid and then you catch Pokemon, you battle people, you beat gyms. I mean, you go to gyms and then you get badges so that you can beat the Elite Four, which is like the highest tier Pokemon trainers. Yeah, and and then there's also these bad guys like Team Rocket, Team Magma, Team whatever. And yeah, it's a very simple story. And Pokemon actually has this manga series which is really really good. I mean, I haven't read it past Ruby and Sapphire. No, I have, but Fire Red, I think that was the last one that I read, which is a remake of Red and okay, that's the first game. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but there's actually a lot of potential to have a good storyline because I think that the manga is really, really good for the kind of simple story that Pokemon is given. And there's a lot of great things that can come out of Pokemon in terms of your relationship with your Pokemon. And I think that that's always the best part about Pokemon, which is you develop. A lot of people joke that it's all about slavery and stuff, and they fight for you, or you make them fight for you. But Pokemon fight for you because they want you to have glory and also because they trust in you. And it's not all about fighting. Like Pokemon, they do genuinely love you. I think that a lot of people make fun of Ash, but I think he and Pikachu have this really great chemistry, and it comes a lot from respect and it comes a lot from love. There is this episode in Pokemon where Pikachu finds other Pikachus, and Ash is like, oh man, Pikachu looks so happy here with, his family, and he's like, he's willing to give up Pikachu so that Pikachu can be happy. And it turns out that Pikachu loves Ash, and then he went back to find him. And as a kid, it made me cry. As an adult, it still made me cry. So yeah, I think Pokemon has a lot of potential for a good story that is heartfelt, because it's about Pokemon and the trainers and the bond that they share, and it also gives a great, like, you can do a lot of amazing action scenes with it. Just look at the new Pokemon series. As in, the old ones were great, but I've seen the new Pokemon X and Y series, and oh my god, the animation for it is so freaking good. The camera work, the moves, and they have something called Mega Evolution now, where am I saying too much? Is this nerding out? I'm so sorry.
No, it's alright. I nerd out all the time.
So there's this thing called Mega Evolution, where it's like a temporary evolution. After the battle, you go back to the normal evolution, which is probably your third one. And it's really great. So visually, that you have something to do with it. Story, you have something to do with it. You can easily find heart in Pokemon. And it's about time that they do a Pokemon movie. I don't want them to do a movie, to be honest, because they can easily screw it up, and there is no way, and there's no video game movie that I think has done an exceptional job, and Wreck-It Ralph does not count. But it's gonna be live action and animation, I assume, because Legendary Pictures is the front runner for it, and I don't think they have an animation department. And if I had a choice, I would have easily given it to Sony, who did stuff like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball, right?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Okay. And Hotel Transylvania. And those are like super cartoony, and it has this great energy to it. And I would have easily given it to Sony Pictures Animation, but I guess it's going to Legendary, which it's kind of sad. But I hope for the sake of video gamers, of fans of Pokemon, that this film would be a success. It will be a success commercially, without a doubt, but critically, I hope it does well and it doesn't stick to the sort of super simplistic storyline that the games have, but something that the manga has, which is a bond with your Pokemon, a bond with other trainers, and basically fighting for the greater good. It's simple, but it's not childish, and there's a lot of heart in the manga. And I think and the manga is great too, because they really flesh out like the main characters, like Red. They flesh out green, blue. Yeah, those are their names. Okay, don't judge. But yeah, I can't wait for this movie, and I'm glad they're making it. But I really hope they get the right. It's easy money. It is easy money, but I hope they don't take advantage of that and give us a crappy story, because there's so much potential in a good Pokemon film.
It's been really difficult for me to stay silent for as long as I did, but but I had to. So I guess from what I can gather is that the angle they should be playing up is a boy and his ex.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And okay, a boy and a few exes.
A boy and a few exes.
Because you can carry up to 6 Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon.
And Max Landis is the person they're saying would
No,
be...
he's terrible. Don't. Get someone who loves, like, who genuinely loves Pokemon and isn't someone who judges other people and complains about... I don't know.
I really don't like Max Landis.
I think he's an okay writer, but he's not suitable for Pokemon at all, because Pokemon is all about... It's super happy, it's super fun and joy, and he complains about a lot of things, and he has this really, like, he thinks he's all that and more.
Yes,
and I don't like that attitude.
He's such a prima donna, yeah, and he hasn't earned it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he's born into Hollywood. That's John Landis.
Yeah, and I don't think someone like him should write Pokemon. We need someone who's just a joy.
Yeah, okay.
Like Simon Pegg.
Totally cliche answer. Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah, but they're in everything now, so we can't use them anymore.
Yeah, that's why it's a totally cliche answer.
And Chris Lord and Phil Miller, they're kind of the people who should do films that people deem will be a failure. I think they're really good at those films.
That's actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, like how can you make a Lego movie? I don't know, ask Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah, how does 21 Jump Street work?
Yeah, ask Phil Lord and Chris Miller. So they are that type. You give them things that you want to make money off, but you don't know how it will work. Pokemon, you can easily make it work. You just need the right writer. You need to find the right director who love this material, but they're willing to sacrifice some of the simplicity of the game, but at the same time give you a great story. Because Pokemon, you can have a great story. The manga proves it. The anime sort of proves it. You can do it, Hollywood. I know you can. I just wish it wasn't live action mixed with animation.
Yeah, like the core of it is that this is ultimately, I mean absolutely no offense in that a lot of franchises are like this, but it's buy more stuff. So watch the thing, follow the story, buy more stuff. You gotta catch them all. So yeah, that's the way it is for a lot of franchises, but that doesn't mean that you can't make a good story out of it.
The manga's good, I swear.
Okay. So I mean, I don't have anything very meaningful to add, but I feel like this might be stuck in development hell because the Akira remake has been stuck in development hell for such a long time. And so has the Death Note remake, and the Death Note remake is actually going ahead now. It's on Netflix, I think. Yeah, so I feel like even with the success of Pokemon Go, I'm not sure how expedient the process of making the movie will be.
Yeah, Pokemon, the company, they're very protective of Pokemon.
I feel that they don't want a Dragon Ball evolution scenario to take place, and neither do any of us really. Okay, so
the new Pokemon games suck, but in terms of the story, because your rivals are really nice to you and you don't want to beat them. But you have to in order to get the story going, so that sucks. Okay, yeah, go on to the next story, sorry.
It's alright. So now we have our second look at Wonder Woman in the form of photos from the set, which were published in Entertainment Weekly. So what do you think of what we've seen of Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and company?
Is it me or does she not have the look? Like, she looks like she's acting. It didn't feel natural to me. You know how, like, you look into someone's eyes and you can see the window. The eyes are the windows to the soul or something like that, right?
So
I didn't feel anything by looking at her. It just felt like really fake.
So she looks like she's cosplaying as Wonder Woman?
Even cosplayers look better than that.
No.
Like, it's not the costume, it's her.
Yeah,
She doesn't have the eyes for it.
I don't know. I'm kind of over. Like, I'm fine with her being Wonder Woman, but I totally see where you're coming from, and I guess this is what you get with supermodels a lot when a supermodel tries to transition into acting. I cannot think of a very, very good example, and I'm sure someone will prove me wrong. And there's a supermodel who's been nominated or won an Oscar somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. There's a huge stigma in that the main purpose she has served in most things is to stand around and look pretty, and now she's got to carry a franchise and one of the most important feminist icons there's ever been. At the same time, I love the look, I like the design, and I like that the stills we have lots of color in them. You can see all the reds and the blues and the golds, and that looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, sorry, with Wonder Woman, if you're doing the origin story, it's not that difficult to get right. I feel that there have been several versions of the origin story that have already done it really well. The animated movie from 2009 is fine. It's a good example of that. And
I like the feminist talk that Steve had with her. I thought that was really. It's like, yeah, it was cool.
in the 2009 movie,
Yeah.
the 2009
He
movie
talks
is
about
fun.
how.
Yeah.
Yeah. He talks about how needing help doesn't mean that I'm looking down on you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly, and one of my favorite parts of that is Rosario Dawson as Artemis, and I feel that Rosario Dawson as Artemis makes complete and utter sense. Rosario Dawson as Batgirl does not, as Barbara Gordon does not. Yeah, so I had to slip that in there because I don't hear Batgirl at all, but I hear Artemis a lot. And my guess is that Danny Houston is playing Ares. Like they cast Danny Houston in it, and I think they're doing the contest and the arrival to Man's World, and I guess the World War One angle. That's fun. It's not World War Two, and World War Two is a lot easier to do because you have obvious bad guys. You have the Nazis, and World War One was generally a lot murkier and therefore less entertaining in fiction. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. But yeah, I also kind of wish Steve Trevor were contemporary. I kind of wish he could pop up in Justice League movies instead of him being a guy from the 1910s.
I think they'll find a way to bring him back. His grandson. I don't know.
Identical grandson Chris Pine. And like when they cast Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, I was very sure that they were gonna cast him as Hal Jordan.
I'll be honest. When I watched the first Star Trek reboot, I didn't know that Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine were played by two different actors.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact.
George Kirk, the Kelvin timeline. So, other fun fact, the USS Kelvin is so named because that is the name of J.J. Abrams' grandfather, and he tried to slide the name into everything. I don't know where it is in Star Wars, but yeah.
I heard the commentary. It's really fun. It's a really good commentary. They had a lot of laughter.
Yeah, with the writers on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's our first look at Wonder Woman, and I'm also excited about Robin Wright. I feel like they missed a bit of an opportunity by not having Linda Carter come back as Hippolyta, but I guess that's a bit obvious, so they didn't do that. At the same time, that would have made a lot of people happy because Linda Carter is so important to the character Wonder Woman. Yeah.
I'm sure she'll make a cameo somewhere.
She's gonna be in Supergirl. She's playing the president.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Hillary Clinton-ish type, I assume. So yeah, after that, what else do we have? We've got the Star Wars Rogue One panel at Celebration Europe, where we learned a bit more about the movie, and apparently Darth Vader is confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. And one thing which I really like from the panel is that they said the characters played by Donnie Yen and Jiang Wen are kind of inspired by the two bickering peasants in The Hidden Fortress by Akira Kurosawa, which is the main inspiration for R2-D2 and C-3PO in the original. So it kind of loops back to that. At the same time, it looks like they're pretty badass, so they're not just standing to the side being funny.
I heard like there's some spoilers that they accidentally gave away yesterday or something.
Yeah, I think Jiang Wen accidentally gave away some spoilers, so I didn't read all the way. But yeah.
Okay, that's great. I was so afraid that you knew, and I'll be like,
no, it's I mean, the only thing that's kind of a spoiler is Darth Vader, but he's in the trailer, so I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yeah, and I think everyone was just assuming that he was coming.
Yeah,
anyway.
because it's during that timeline, it has to do directly with the Death Star. What's
Yeah.
pretty fun is they had Ben Mendelsohn in costume as Orson Krennic march through the hall escorted by Death Troopers, and he appeared in character and in costume. That's fun.
Oh, that is so
Yes.
cool. I love it when actors do that.
The photos of everyone else in normal clothes and him standing there in front of them is really funny. It's awesome. And there's a really funny picture of Felicity Jones being so happy holding her own action figure, which I adore.
Alright, I'll go search that up later. I didn't see that yet.
Yeah, they were really adamant about saying, okay, this won't be a situation like Where's Rey, where people couldn't find toys of Rey. We're gonna make sure that Jyn Erso toys are really easy to find. So yeah, I'm
That's
counting
awesome.
on that because the Jyn Erso figure is very useful for me as a customizer. I can do lots of things with that because she's wearing basically civilian, like modern day, not sci-fi clothes. She's wearing a jacket and pants. And I need like civilian female characters. I want to do Renee Montoya and Maggie Sawyer customs, guys. So let me do that. Rant over. And okay, is there anything you want to add about Rogue One?
I'm looking forward to it. This morning I said, "Hey, have you seen the Rogue One Nation trailer?"
You're getting closer, Jerry.
So close.
Yeah, it reminds me
Okay.
of the story of Hugh Jackman. He was staying in a hotel and the guy kept on confusing him for Hugh Grant. And finally the guy called him Hugh Grantman. Which is such a cute story. Yeah, the last like bit of news, I guess, is Javier Bardem has been cast as Frankenstein's monster in the Universal Studios universe. Yeah, the
I can't
Universal
believe they're
Monster
going
universe.
through with it.
So,
I can't believe they're going through with it.
I know,
Like-
right? Yeah, and they've got big names. They have Tom Cruise, they have Johnny Depp, and they are chasing Angelina Jolie. So
And oh, she's perfect for Frankenstein. What?
Bride of
She's
Frankenstein.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god,
I-
she's so perfect for
I
that.
put the photos next to each other for when I was editing the news bites for the magazine, and it's great. I want that to happen. I think like they
Yeah.
said that they let her make By the Sea so they could blackmail her into this Universal.
Oh, all right. I like there were some set footages, not set. There were some set photos of Tom Cruise running,
Yeah,
and he's filming for The Mummy, and I'm just like, oh my god, they're filming this thing.
Yeah, it's real, and the actress playing
They're
the Mummy.
so determined.
Yeah, I know. It's Universal, man. They're kind of like, we can make this Fast and Furious. Come on. And
Yeah,
yeah.
they did something that I've never seen before, which is having the fifth movie just skyrocket the entire franchise
Oh
that's
yeah.
been around for four movies that were just meh.
Fast 5 is very impressive in that regard. Like it's cliche and it has its problems, but it's really good. As an action movie, it's solid.
Mm.
Yeah, and Sofia Boutella is playing the Mummy, and she is Jayla in Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of making the Mummy female, and there's the possibility that she's not the villain. She's been cursed, and maybe there's a bigger villain above her. And then Johnny Depp is the Invisible Man. Okay. Yeah.
It reminds me of because now he wears glasses, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Invisible Man from Hotel Transylvania, who's my favorite character.
Yeah, I could see that.
The floating glasses. Oh man, I love him.
Yeah, and it's the Mummy just sounds terribly generic because it sounds like Tom Cruise is playing a marine who accidentally awoke a mummy in the desert in Iraq somewhere. Which is
That sounds like X-Men Apocalypse.
that's an hit. Everything they built will fall. Okay, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Thank you so much for letting me take the.
Oh, hang on,
Wait.
we have to talk about movies coming out next week.
I knew I missed something. Okay, movies coming out next week. Let's hit it. What's coming out next week? We've got Star Trek Beyond.
Yep. And the BFG.
Oh yes, which like didn't do too well at the box office. Unfortunately.
I can't support it because I don't have time to watch two movies. So we'll just watch Star Trek Beyond next week.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything about a BFG screening from Disney, so I'm confused. I want to see it though. Like, I love Spielberg, and I miss fun Spielberg. So, it's him like in full ET mode. So I need that, and then I need him in full Raiders mode, and I need him in full Jurassic Park mode.
When? When do you need that?
Because I don't know. I feel that he's a filmmaker who I won't say sold out, but his earlier movies were a lot more fun. And then when he discovered his voice as a more serious filmmaker, he started making these Oscar bait things, which are good movies and which have good things to say. But I prefer him fun.
I think Ready Player One. A lot of people are looking forward to that.
Yes,
So
that's right. I
hopefully
forgot
he goes
that's
back
coming
to
out.
that.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome. I think
that
he's just the right
fun
guy to do it. And yeah, he's a huge video game nerd as well, so that's a good direction.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay,
3
so
more weeks. The Suicide Squad. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, that's less than 2 weeks away now, and I'm hyped.
Wait, for you probably, not for me.
4th August.
I'm sure you can watch it early.
4th August is kind of 2 weeks away, right?
It's 3.
3.
I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for me it's 1.5 weeks away, I guess.
Oh,
This
this is so unfair.
I know, right?
I will watch Skiptrace just to watch Suicide Squad early.
I think it would be worth it. So, well, but in any case, like, I did give the Suicide Squad menu a try at the DC Superheroes Cafe. So, spoiler alert, food's not great, but
Oh, can I give a shout out to this really good restaurant that's also like comic book themed but not as themed as DC comic.
no, sure, go ahead.
What's the place called? DC Comic Cafe.
Yeah, the DC Comics Superhero Cafe, which is really
It's a
gimmicky.
theme
Yeah,
cafe.
theme cafe, whatever.
There's this place at Farrer Park. It's called Hungry Heroes Cafe. It's really good.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
It's a little bit pricey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit pricey, but the food is really, really good. And it may not be as gimmicky as DC Comics Cafe or whatever it's called, but the food there is great, and I went there twice, and I love it. I don't regret it, even though it's very pricey.
Sure, yeah, and I'm sure it's probably around the same price range as the DC Comics Superhero Cafe, which is honestly like not very fairly priced. But the PR people have been very kind and accommodating to me, and they sort of appreciate that I'm a huge DC Comics geek. So yeah, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm insulting them, because I don't mean to. It's just that it falls into that trap of theme park style food where you're just there for the ambience. Yeah,
I've ate it before. It's alright.
Yeah.
The drinks are nice though.
Yeah, the drinks were the best part of the Suicide Squad menu. They have this coffee, tea, and Gula Melaka thing called Sweet Side Squad, but it's expensive. Alright, so I suppose that brings us to the end of today's episode, and I guess you can count the number of times I screwed up on 2 hands, so that's not too bad.
I've screwed up more, don't worry.
Alright, so thanks for letting me take the lead in the gender swap episode of the Snack Bar. Thanks, Gerry, and good night, everyone, or whatever time you're here listening to this.
Bye!
Bye-bye!